my name is Krista Simmons from Metro Mix, and we're here at the Foundry with Eric Greenspan. He's the executive chef here. And we just got back from the Hollywood Farmers Market where Eric helped us pick out some lovely produce.
Indeed.
He's helping us cook and shop like a chef so that we can do DIY fine dining at home. So what are we going to do now here in the kitchen, Eric?
Well, we've got our beets, we've got our citrus fruit, we've got our radicchio. Now I'm going to show you kind of different ways of preparing these items that you may not have known before and that might be interesting to you. And then we're going to put it all together and make a nice little early spring salad for us all.
Fabulous.
We're going to start with the beets. Okay. Now all we did was we trimmed the top off of these beets and the tip off the beets. Take a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of salt. I put a little bit of water in there. And that kind of steams them to start. So once the water evaporates, it gives them a head start. So by the time they're done roasting, they haven't burnt to the bottom of the pan.
And do you do this when you're roasting all vegetables, or?
You can do this when you're roasting all vegetables, absolutely. The same method works. Just we're going to wrap it up in foil. 375, 400 degrees, about 45 minutes to an hour. And here's how you know that they're done. The key is to take your paring knife and put it in. Kind of basically scrape it right off. You see that?
Mm-hmm. Look, and it's still bright yellow on the inside, even though it was a little bit charred on the outside.
Yeah. When you roast it, it really intensifies its flavor. We peeled them hot, we cooled them down, and now we have these whole little jewels of beauty.
Okay.
So I'm going to cut these into fourths. The next thing I want to talk about is the citrus fruit. A lot of people want to know how to cut perfect segments of citrus fruit. So what you always do is you take the tips off first. Start with the pith. Once you have it all peeled away, you take your little paring knife, and you'll see there's the little segment set aside. And every citrus fruit has that. So you just kind of follow the lines and cut into the center and take it out. That's the good thing also about using all sorts of different citrus fruits is that, one bite you'll get kind of the tart, slight bitterness of a grapefruit, and in one bite you'll get the intense sweetness of a blood orange. And in one bite you'll get kind of the balance between the two, which is what you find here in the orange.
And this is the Car orange, you said?
Yes.
And is this a California variety?
It is a California variety. Okay. We're going to take some of these beets, which are the raw beets. But these I'm going to rinse off. Just take your knife.
It's got a really pretty color on the inside as well.
This is actually one of those Chayoga beets that we talked about. We're going to peel them and we're going to shave them raw. You always want to take off just that very outer layer. You want to take your time a little bit with it. Finally, the radicchio. It's a very bitter form of cabbage, just because it's had a tough childhood. Radicchio is something that you can serve it raw, but I always find it's a fun thing to cook. I put olive oil in the pan and it's really, really hot. Because I'm going to drop these in. I'm going to char it to make it even more bitter. A touch of red wine vinegar, a little blood orange juice. I've cooked it until what the French call sec, which means dry. So that everything is out. All the juice, all the liquid is done. We've got our radicchio, we've got our citrus. We've got a little bit of arugula that I picked up there at the market. It's got that good bitterness, it's got freshness, it's got that pepperiness. I'm going to show you what to do with these raw beets. And this is called the Japanese mandolin. I always tell my young cooks here who after they cut themselves the first time, that to clench your finger like a bird.
Okay.
And if it helps to go, So, now we've got our raw beets. What do you say we got all of our ingredients? Now let's put the salad together.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. The radicchio has already been cooked in the vinegar and the juice and all that. Doesn't need any dressing.
No need to overdo it.
Citrus fruits already have their own juice inside them. They don't really need to be dressed either. Now, the arugula could sure use some dressing. Your tongue picks up the seasoning the closer it gets towards your body temperature. Interesting, right? Yeah. So, being that these aren't at 98.6 degrees, we need to season them a little bit heavier, and that way you get the most intensity out of it. 2 parts olive oil, 1 part blood orange juice. Throw it in a squeeze bottle. I always dress the side of the bowl and then toss it around like that. And that way you don't get an overdressed salad. So I'm going to take some of our radicchio, and I'm going to lay different fruits in different places. I always like to have layers on top of layers on top of layers. That way you kind of get, like we talked about before, every time you get a bite, you got something different in it.
You have a bunch of stratified flavor over here.
Yes.
All right.
Stratified flavor.
That is a beautiful salad. That
Thank
really
you so much.
reflects the seasons.
It does.
It's got our whole shopping trip to the market in there. That's really great.
And it's got the whole shopping trip to the market. And it almost reminds me of the market. Like when you look at it, it's so fresh and colorful, and it's got the greens and the reds and the yellows and the whites and all the different colors that we saw before. And that's really a good sign of the inspiration that the market gives you, is that the market kind of inspires you to create things that are equally beautiful and fresh.
Absolutely. So there's our DIY fine dining with Eric Greenspan. We rocked it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.